this is Margaret from the blog Don't Call It Bollywood, and today I want to talk about nepotism in the Indian film industry, specifically related to Aayush Sharma, Salman Khan's brother-in-law, who it's just been announced is going to be launched in a film produced by Salman. Now, there have been a lot of rumors about Aayush's launch, and some of the things that we've heard is that he was going to be launched by Dharma Productions, not Salman's production company, but Karan Johar's. Or even if he was launched by Salman, he was going to be launched by an established director with a good script. What we've now learned is he's going to be launched by a first-time director, and the script is going to be a remake of the Punjabi film Jat and Juliet. What this tells me is that no real established artist is willing to take a chance on him. A good first-time director would usually have his own vision for his first-time film. This would be the thing he would have been dreaming of making for the past 5, 10, 20 years, and he'd have his ideal script in mind. Clearly, this director doesn't have that because they've just purchased a script from somewhere else that they're going to remake. And it's a first-time director, which means he has no choice in casting or anything else, and it's being produced by Aayush's brother-in-law. So what this looks like is Salman, Aayush's brother-in-law, said, okay, I'm going to produce the movie, I'm going to hire some random guy, I'm going to buy some random script, I'm the only one who's interested in launching you, essentially. What's really interesting is that Karan Johar was rumored to be part of this and then turned it down. And in fact, the rumor says that he was offered a quid pro quo. He would have the option of working with Salman on something, which is a fabulous chance. Salman has a huge fan following and is very talented and all of these things. And he turned that down because it wasn't worth it to launch Aayush. And this is Karan Johar, who's become sort of the flag waver for nepotism. And he's turning it down. So what does this mean? Well, it kind of fits with how I think of as nepotism. The kind of nepotism Karan Johar does, launching someone like Alia Bhatt, there's 3 real advantages to that. First, name recognition. If this is somebody who's related to somebody else famous, we know their name, and not just name recognition, we know their face. Someone like Alia, we've literally seen grown up on camera. The same would be true for Sridevi's daughter, for Saif's daughter. These people, we've seen their photos their entire lives. There's an automatic knowledge of them when you walk into the theater. It doesn't feel quite as much like you're giving an unknown person a chance. The second would be training. Again, someone like Saif's daughter or Alia or Varun Dhawan, who doesn't have as much face and name recognition because his father was a behind-the-camera person. They grew up on film sets, not just on film sets. They grew up watching magazine interviews, watching TV interviews, watching photo shoots. Every aspect of filmmaking, they were there as a silent observer their entire lives. This is priceless training for them. And you can see that even from the outsiders. If you compare a first magazine interview from one of these star kids with one of the outsiders, it's very different. Usually the outsiders are more interesting because they don't know what they're not supposed to say. They aren't as perfect. And sure, it's more interesting for us as a reader, but it can cause big issues for the film producers because some scandal comes out, some gossip comes out, something's handled clumsily, their mentee accidentally insults somebody and they have to clear that up. Much safer to go with somebody who already knows what the right thing to say is, what the right thing to do is in every situation, from a premiere party to a TV interview. They've been trained for it their whole lives. And then the third reason to hire someone who's related to somebody else is just straight genetics. I'm not saying that this is the most important reason. This is like the third reason for a reason. But generally speaking, they're going to have pale skin, they're going to have regular features, they're going to have the basic elements that you would inherit from a parent who was also attractive enough to be a film star. There's millions of people in India who would fulfill that requirement, but there's very few people in India who would fulfill the know how to handle a TV interview requirement, and there's even fewer people who have the right looks, know how to handle a TV interview, and name and face recognition from having been photographed their whole lives. If you look at the people who've succeeded, who are related to others, you've got Hrithik Roshan, who when he was launched, there wasn't that much name and face recognition for him, but he had been trained for 25 years as to how to be the perfect star, and that gave him a huge leap forward. beyond, of course, his luck of the way he looks. If you look at Varun Dhawan, there's no name and face recognition for him either, but he's very comfortable on film sets. He attacks the screen. He knows how to handle the whole movie star thing because he's seen the biggest stars in the country the whole time he was growing up and how they handle things. And then you've got Alia Bhatt, who's got all three. She's got the very pale skin and perfect features that she inherited from her mother. Plus, she's got the look that's similar to her former big star sister so that the audience feels familiar with it. We know her name, we know her face a little bit, not just because it's similar to her sister, but from childhood photos and so on. And if you look at how well she did, not in her first movie, but in her second movie, Highway, that was just a phenomenal performance for a teenager. And what was also phenomenal was the way she handled the publicity binge for it. Being able to take questions, to dress right, and so on and so forth in a way you just would not expect from a 19-year-old girl. So that's how I see reasons for nepotism. They may not be the best reasons, but they're reasons beyond just I'm doing a favor for someone. And I think Aayush Sharma's story shows that these truly are the reasons, because Aayush Sharma, to launch him, would only be a favor for Salman Khan. He married into the Khan family. He was not raised on film sets. He has no name and face recognition, really. I mean, we've seen plenty of photos of him since the wedding, but that's what, 2-3 years? And he doesn't even have the right look necessarily. I mean, he looks nice enough, but he doesn't have that shocking, oh, you look just like your mother, you look just like your father, or just, oh my gosh, you're stunningly handsome, like Hrithik had. There's no reason that he would be launched if he weren't related by marriage to Salman Khan. And that's not enough of a reason. The pure connections, the pure having to do a favor for somebody, that's not enough to risk your film on without the other reasons that nepotism, to put it bluntly, works, at least some of the time. One other thing I should point out and acknowledge in terms of how nepotism doesn't work, there may be very good reasons to give somebody that first chance. Where things change is if you are related to someone, if you've built a bond and so on and so forth, you tend to get a second chance and a third chance and a fourth chance that you really may not deserve. Atiya Shetty, for instance, Jackie Begnani, sure, absolutely cast them in their first movies, but once those movies fail, once it becomes clear that they don't really have that much talent, they should have just sort of faded away, the way people who aren't related to anyone would have. And then the flip side would be someone like Alia Bhatt, who got her first movie partly through luck, partly through connections, but has built her career since then purely on her own talent. Even if she was a nobody, once she'd gotten that first chance, she would have been golden. So really, it's all about what gets you that first chance, and there are actual reasons that producers are willing to give that first chance to someone who's related to somebody else more than to someone who isn't. The second chance, that's where I may have a hard time with somebody, but I've noticed my favorite producers don't tend to give that second chance if they don't see a reason for it. Anyway, that was a long rambling thing, but that's how it looks to me. You can agree, you can disagree. Feel free to leave a comment at my blog. There's a link right below, and I hope to hear from you. Thanks. Bye.